Holy Christmas Kringle. That went from 0 to 60 a little bit faster than I had anticipated. But my God, that last video, it's always the one I'm always like, I don't know why I'm doing this. Like, you gotta send this video out, says the voice in me. Like, make a video and kind of like talk about this. And I'm just like, why? No one's gonna understand. This makes zero fucking sense. And even I'm sitting there listening to myself going like, yeah? No, I get it, because I'm fucking making it. But like, I just think it's rather interesting. It's always those fucking ones, right? It just like reinforces in me, just, you don't need to try. Every time you sit and try, it's always like, yeah, that's fine, whatever. But the minute I'm like, all right, I'll just, fucking not care and do anything, it's always like, oh, that's great. So that video, like, it shocked me how many fucking views it got, but it also was like typical. Fucking typical. I'm always good at the shit I don't try yet. And the minute I start trying it, it's like I fucking suck. It's so conflicting. Understand, it's like, I had this series called what did I call this? The writing series? I think I just called the writing series. And it's literally every day I wrote. I wrote 2 days every week. I started in Halloween of 2023, and I stopped a few months ago. And I would only do 2 days a week because I have a full-time job and I gotta, it's just a lot of work. And I would say at least 6 pages a day, at least. And you can see in there, it's a fucking struggle. A lot of those episodes, man, I really struggle to get through it, or I don't know, man. It's just tough sometimes. It's really tough. And every episode, generally I filmed first, then I wrote. And it would kind of inform the writing session in a sense. And what I was writing was the second book of the series I'm working on. The first book I finished a few years ago. And it's just kind of sitting around. I haven't really done much with it because I can already tell. There's rewrites coming, because the stuff that I'm gonna do in book 2, I'm like, I gotta mention that in book 1. It's just been a lot. But when you're sitting there and you're busting your ass because you want to make this all work, I gotta work in tandem. There's too many moving parts. So I got one guy that's helped me out, and he is kind of taken lore from a certain country and made it his own. And made it a part of his story, and it's very in-depth, and it's a fuck of a lot, and I have to constantly go over to him and say, hey, so I'm going to do these things, how's that going to affect you? And he's got to kind of tell me culturally how that would affect his people, and how they would see this and that. But then there's always an issue, because I'm always like, your country's too strong, because I can't have you be the big strong empire. You gotta be just normal. We can't, you know what I mean? Like, we can't get too hooked on this stuff. You gotta be able to let your creation die. I mean, I'm sacrificing all my shit, all my countries get fucking destroyed. So there's that element, right? And then I go to another guy who's helped me out, and he's really honing in on a character. And he'll ask me certain questions about the character. And I'll have to kind of keep in my head, like, okay, I know what I want, generally. But I'm also, there's a part of me, and this is what I have with the other one too. I'm like, I also love the freedom of it. So I have a guy coming to me asking me about a character named Quinlan. And I know this guy. I sent him just about everything I had on him. Like, I don't remember how many documents, 3 or 4 maybe. I don't know. And I gave an elaborate explaining of him, his origin, his backstory, his motivation in a sense. I try to keep it a little vague, because I know this guy well, but I also want to see how he can grow outside of me. Quinlan is my favorite character. I just love Quinlan. He's my absolute favorite. I've always loved that guy. But I'm handing him off to somebody. And there's a part of you that's like, you're handing off your most prized character. You're handing off someone that you care about the most. But in a sense, I'm like, because just like I would imagine a parent feels, like, I need to let him grow. And if he starts doing things that I'm not okay with, or if he starts saying, like, speaking certain ways that I know he shouldn't speak like, or whatever it may be, I'm like, that's fine, he's got to grow. The same with the other two guys working on their countries. Their countries changed the entire book multiple times. I had a very finite objective, and their countries complicated it, made it more difficult, fucked it up. You know, they would do something that would kind of make me really have to rethink everything. And they kind of were leery about it, but I'd always say, like, no, it's fine. Like, it encourages growth. You know, obstacles encourage growth. And so as the writer, if I'm constantly being met with obstacles because of other people's influence on the book, like, well, that's fine, because it's going to translate. It's gonna show in the writing process. If I'm sitting here fucking frustrated because I said that the characters have to meet here, and none of that fucking happens because a bunch of shit went haywire, well, that's fine, because situations dictate, and sometimes, you know, objectives change. And so now we have to start thinking differently. And actually, it was positive, because it allowed me to re-examine my characters, and I learned more about them, because they went through a trial that I did not foresee going through. So it's like the same mentality of that I try to keep with these videos, where I'm just like, I have kind of an objective in a sense. It's so vague, it's literally make 2 videos a week. That's the only objective that I have. But when it comes to, what do you say in these videos? What are we talking about? What are the things you want to explore? Or, you know, whatever the fuck it is. I have no clue until I hit record. It's just like, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what the stream of consciousness wants to go with, and we'll see how far we can go speaking about that. And a lot of that's really been beneficial, not only just for myself, but also for these fucking videos, because some of them are getting... The newest one's almost, you know, it's 200 shy from 1,000 views. That's unheard. The most views I've ever had is like 150. That's fucking nuts. There's a lot of, you know, reasons for it, because it's probably because it's called a multi-dimensional mythology. That's like such... And there's a picture of the eye. Well, of course it's going to be capturing people. That's fucking nuts, you know? But it's... I think my best work are the ones that are hidden in the channel. The ones that have like 20 views and 15 views. I have a lot of really good videos that even I think are great, because of the weird shit I stumbled upon. But that's some kind of lesson that I still struggle with, but I have to remind myself, like, you do your best work when you're just stream of consciousness. The minute you start planning stuff and try to force it into ideas, it's the minute you ruin it. And I want the videos to feel the same way the writing does, where when I sit down and write, I don't know what the hell is going to happen. My character might die. I don't know. Something crazy might happen. They might get really, really fucked up. And I just gotta be like, well, I didn't know that was gonna happen. How can I get out of this one now? How's he gonna get out of this jam? A lot of the stream of consciousness, it's just something that for me is vital to my creativity, is stream of consciousness. You know, when I do my map drawing, when I'm doing my map drawing, I don't plan any of it. None of it. It's just, I just start going, and just whatever happens, happens. We don't know. It's, you might start drawing, you fuck it up because, you know, you did something wrong, or you went too far somewhere, or whatever it can be, and that's fine, just restart. But a lot of the work that we do on this channel is just, I have no idea. The multi-dimensional mythology video, I know exactly what happened. I was sitting here, I was reading a little bit, and I was just like, you know, I should, like, I'm going to type that out. And then I was like, type what out? I was like, I don't know. Just let's go type that out. And I went to the typewriter, I just started clacking on it, got the page, yanked it out, scanned it, and I was like, would that be cool if I could, like, run this through the ChatGPT thing? Yeah, let's try that. And then I was like, take a picture, maybe you can... and it worked. And then I just said, translate this. Like, what do you think? And that's it. That's just, the video happened. Now, the ending part where I went into it more, that was take 3, because the first time the audio wasn't working. The second time it recorded my voice twice, and one was a little faster than the other, so it was a weird echo. So by the third time I was like irritated when I was trying to tell you, like, okay, like the fucking circle and this word, because I was pissed off because it was the third fucking time that I was talking about it. I just wasted 2 hours. So it's like, it's kind of in the moment, but it's also kind of not. And I think that happened for a reason, because I must have said something right, because it worked. I'm a big believer of the stream of consciousness is merely just, as we could say, Awen, as a modern person, we could say God working through me. I knew that's what it was, and that's why it's the divine inspiration. That's what it is. It's the hand of God. That's kind of the term I like to use to keep it simple, because it's too much if I really get into it. But I see it as the hand of God going through my work and speaking out. And I know that because I let go. I just be. And it always works out. It's never bad. And I think what can be disorienting is when it does go bad in your mind. You know, you say, you know what, I have this creative art, but I'm going to be stream of consciousness. I'm just going to let go of my conscious self and just be a part of this and let it express itself to me, not me to it. Right? Sometimes it does that, and you just look at it like, that was dumb, it looks like shit. Or like you're writing and you're like, that just sounds dumb, you think. But sometimes it's dumb in the moment and you find out it's actually genius. Other times it's dumb in the moment and it stays dumb, but it expresses something. It may be like, well, that's stupid, but it expresses something in there. Just because it's negative, maybe people need to hear something negative. Why do we always got to have, like, I'm smart, I watch my videos because I'm learned, I'm smart, I'm attractive in this sense, and blah, blah, blah. You know, it's always these positive things. And I think it's a good idea to record the negative side of something. Maybe there are videos that are terrible to watch, or just like ridiculous what you're talking about, or you're channeling anger. And I think, well, no, that's good, because it's humanity. It's just like it's real. I'll send videos that I would not want to, you know, like I'll make a video and I'll be like, oh God, that's bloody awful. But then I think, nope, we have to, because that's what it said to do, and we have to do it. And I'm very uncomfortable about what I said on there, and I'm very nervous, and just, oh geez, those are some horrible opinions. I was very mad. Too bad. You know, you've got to send this. And so I do, and we'll see what happens from them, you know. And that's totally fine. It's the stream, man. Like, you've got to trust into it. You find a balance eventually, because it's kind of like how we like to think of the modern era of the left brain, the right brain. So that stream of consciousness is great for creativity and getting in there and letting the forces of divinity work through you. But once you're done, unless you're really good, really, really good at capturing it well, it's like you filtered it wrong. Maybe you kind of went a little somewhere else while you were doing it. You can always tinge it with stuff. You can always, let's say you're writing a chapter and you're letting the stream of consciousness write it for you. Well, you might start kind of putting a thought into it, and then it kind of borns itself into it. Because that can happen. It's okay. Or you might want to, like, oh, I want the character to go here. I want, and it goes there. And then you lose it because you were wanting something. That's okay as well, because what you're doing is you're balancing the left and right brain. And then you can do more right brain, I think that's what it's called, the logic side. You can go back, and that's what editing is. And that's what, like, you know, looking at it objectively and saying, does this chapter really matter, or whatever it can be. There's a lot of things that your right brain's really helpful with. For me, that's the side I struggle with. I'm not really good at right brain stuff. it doesn't come natural to me to be like right brain about anything. It's tough. I have to really work on that. I think in a general sense, you know, it's about the balance, of course, but a lot of people, I think it's difficult for them to trust into the imagination, because that's what it's all about. So the divinity of, as I described, the hand of God, to keep it simple, working through me in the stream of consciousness, that's essentially pouring from the unmanifested. So the unmanifested is that initial change in that fucking thing. I swear to God, am I seriously going to talk about this son of a bitch again? God damn it. I always tell myself, this will be the last time we talk about this motherfucker. We're back. Okay, we've already talked about the circle and the fractal, all that. I don't want to do this. But the initial stage of this is down here. Okay? How about I throw it up on the screen? Throw that bitch up on the screen. Okay, at the bottom there, that's our living life right there. That is the now, the present, the place in which we exist. You notice it says manifestation and unmanifestation, positive and negative, right? Now, we can think of that as our brain and how it works. Manifestation is, I drew it on the left side, so it's left brain, and then unmanifested is right brain. So the idea is manifestation is imagination. It is the place of the other, and in the other is where everything exists. So as it exists in the other, that is the place from which we draw from, the imagination. My example always is like, the engine didn't just fucking appear. Someone had to think about it, come up with it, trial and error, and all these years later we have a fucking engine. But initial thought of the machine that can move you without you having to move yourself, in a sense, like a vehicle, he had to imagine it first. And what it is to me is the imagination is a realm in which we can tap into. Now, as the books are written, remember how I talked about Oapake being trapped in the realm of imagination? Well, that's kind of a warning of, if you're too in it, it can drive you mad. Oapake is driven mad because he's stuck in the realm of creation. In that sense, it's too much. He can't make sense of it. His brain doesn't know what to do. It drives you mad because you can't interpret it. This is God's understanding of a being above you, we should say. Anyway, that is the main focus of what the stream of consciousness allows. It'll allow you to pull from the unmanifested. So that's just the process. Manifestation is the essence of what you're seeking to do. So unmanifested is that which exists in the imagination. Don't think of the unmanifested, manifested as necessary states of existence. It's merely a process. So you have reality, and you have the reality, and you have the imaginary, right? In reality and in the imaginary, the process of manifestation and unmanifestation exists. As in, you go into the imagination to manifest something from an unmanifested state. In doing that, what you're going to do is there's a little process of, when you go into the imaginary, you have to leave a little bit of reality there. And that's kind of the understanding of like yin yang and all that. So you're going into this imaginary, you got to kind of sacrifice, in a sense, some aspect of reality, we could say, to pull from it the unimaginable, the thing that like does not truly exist in the reality. And it's a process that gives and takes, and you have to be honorable to it. And that's why we've always thought there should be sacrifices to the gods, because in a sense the gods live in our imagination. So we must offer sacrifices to them, offer something material, something that exists in reality, so that we can have from that some sort of idea of what those beings that exist in the imaginary have and are giving to us. Okay. Does that make any sense? It might not make any sense. But what I'm trying to say is everything's the fucking same. If we really try, if you really look at it. Oh. I'm sorry, I'm not like trying to be cocky and be like, I blow my own mind. But I don't know where this shit comes from. Yes, I do. It comes from the imaginary. Okay, so that's kind of the idea of how we can really work with our stream of consciousness. It is a process, and in that, my theory, we could say. I'm not 100% on this, but I think as I speak of Owapake being driven mad, I think that's how it works. Is that sometimes the more you go into the imaginary, the more you lose yourself inside of it. And it captures parts of you more and more and more and more until you don't know if it's reality or dream anymore. You don't know if that person's real or not. Pretty soon everything's a fake person. And that's how that might work. But hell, I might even be wrong. This might be all bullshit. I just made it all up. I hope not. But there you go. What are we going to call this video? We could say the manifest and unmanifesting. We could say extracting from the imaginary. The something of reality pulled from the imaginary. I don't know. We'll see.